Good evening. If you'd like to start making your way down to the stage, we have things planned. Come on down, folks. We'd like to get started. Come on in and join us under the tent. It's good down here. They're listening, but they're taking their time. I think they're staring at the cookies. I don't know. If you don't come down, you don't get cookies. We will just keep the cookies. That's it. Come on down, folks. I think part of it is nobody wants this to be over. Does that sound right? Yeah. All right. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. Again, every night, I'm like, I'm going to just come and sit next to you. Yeah. Welcome to the closing night, if you can believe it, of the 35th Summer Fishtrap Gathering of Writers. I am so glad to see you. Thank you. This is a special night for us because in addition to being the closing night of our year of renewal, it's also our 35th anniversary. We have a couple of surprises for you that we'd like to well, what do you do with surprises? You surprise people with them. So we'd like to try that. We also want to welcome all the folks that are watching us online. I've heard some great feedback. A lot of you have been sending messages, and I appreciate that. And I wish you all could be here with us, but I know you're here in spirit, so hopefully we'll see you in person at a future Summer Fishtrap. And in the meantime, I'm glad to have you here tonight. So I wanted to check, how was your week of renewal? Was it a good one? I don't know about you, but I'm okay. How are you feeling? I'm all right. My not okay kind of went away this week. So thank you for that. I also wanted to thank you all, as we talked about that first night, I asked you to help us create a brave space. And can I tell you that you did that? So this has been a wonderful week. I also want to can we give a shout out to the staff at the Wallowa Lake Lodge this week? Holy cow. And some of you may have noticed that, in addition to being rock star service people and taking care of our every whim, they just went around and gave us all coffee cake. I don't know who does that. So I haven't had somebody give me coffee cake for free since my grandma passed away, and I don't think she did that. So she was more of a Stouffer's Sara Lee kind of, anyway. So again, I hope you were able to renew a little bit, get reconnected with your writing, get reconnected with this place, get reconnected with each other. Gives us a little hope. And I just, like I say, I'm so grateful to each of you. So I want to give you a little preview of what we're going to do tonight. We have wonderful reading from our final faculty reading of the week, which we picked on purpose. Robert Stubblefield, who has a long history with Summer Fishtrap. He was a fellow in 1990. And has been a big part of the formation of what the Summer Fishtrap Gathering of Writers is. He's also a dear friend of our co-founder, Rich Wanschneider, so I'm glad he's here, which is great because Rich is joining us tonight, and we'll also be giving a reading, which is always a treat. So I'm excited to, would you applaud for Rich, please? Come on. We have the preview of The Surprise, which is a film that was put together talking about the history of Summer Fishtrap, which is gorgeous, and you get to be the debut audience for that tonight. Then you get cookies. And then when you're done eating the cookies and we reset, we're going to close the night with Jezebel's Mother, and we're going to have a time. So also during the evening, the silent auction items are going to remain open until we reset for Jezebel's Mother. So if you haven't had a chance to bid, there's some stuff up there you might want to look at, including a trip on the Snake River Outpost. So take a look at the auction items. We will also be drawing the raffle items for the Summer Fishtrap raffle tonight. So you don't have to be here to win, but you do have to pick them up because we're not shipping them to you. So that's the way it goes. You know, we can't, it's like $5 raffle tickets, $75 in shipping. Didn't seem to pencil out so much. So that's what we're going to do. So that's the outline for the plan tonight. Before we move on to the formal program, we've mentioned all week that we've had a great deal of support from our sponsors, and I wanted to give them one more shout out. And did I open to the page right? No. But I did want to mention our sponsors one more time. So Copper Creek Mercantile, Ruby Peak Realty, Realtor Diane Daggett, Element, Pier 303, M. Crow, Moonshine Glass Art, Terminal Gravity Brewing, Wallowa County Chamber of Commerce, who was a really generous sponsor with us. And of course, oh my gosh, give Becky a big hand from the Book Loft. So yeah. I think most of you know this. Every book that you purchased from Becky this week from the Book Loft, they make a donation to Fishtrap. So if you haven't purchased anything, there's another little incentive to do that. So the Book Loft is part of Fishtrap and always has been, and part of the history in a way that wouldn't be a Fishtrap without the Book Loft. So ask Rich about that later, and he'll fill you in. I also want to thank Eastern Oregon University. Are there any MFA students here tonight? Yeah, up on the deck. They're close to the bar. Thank you. These MFA students from the faculty, and I want you all to hear this, we have heard from every workshop that you've raised the bar on the quality of our workshops. We are so proud to have you with us, and thank you for what you're doing to make this program extra special. So thank you for being a part of us this year, and next year and forever, hopefully. We also want to thank the Herbert Templeton Foundation, the James F. and Marion Miller Foundation, the Kinsman Foundation, the Ronald W. Nato Foundation, the Oregon Arts Commission, the National Endowment for the Arts, the Roundhouse Foundation, and the Silver Family Foundation for their contributions to making our programs possible. So please join me in thanking them. Isn't it fun to thank people you've never met? I'd also like to acknowledge one more special person who's here with us tonight, which is Julie Gregory, who is here with the Oregon Community Foundation, who's a big supporter of Fishtrap and is also going to she's just important to us. So she helped us set up a little surprise that we'll announce a little bit later. So welcome, Julie, and thank you for coming out. And finally, throughout the week, you may have noticed, in addition to our staff, there have been these people who've popped up and shown up for a few hours and left. We've had over 20 volunteers from the community and a couple that have traveled from outside to join us for the week. So please, please, please thank them for me. We couldn't do this without them. So thank you to all the Fishtrap volunteers. So. One more thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our writers, to our faculty, to the people from our community who come up and join us, to the people who keep saying yes to Fishtrap, and who are here to welcome all of us together, to be back together in a space, to our Fishtrap Board of Directors, and finally to my staff. Thanks for a wonderful week. So I'm going to get emotional, so we're going to stop right there. We do not have a word of the day today because our Lekupsime, I think, laid it all out on the table for us yesterday and gave us all of the words. So, but please also, if you see them as they travel through, I can honestly say, as we've been working all week to acknowledge that we're standing on Nez Perce lands, the land of the Nimipu, that they added an extra dimension to us. And know that every time you repeated one of the words they taught you, you also were doing something, an action that helped bring them back. So thank you for that as well. Yeah. So you guys want to hear from Robert? I've heard he's pretty good. So as I indicated, Robert has been around Fishtrap for, a long time, 30 years. Yeah, wowzers. Some people here weren't born then. So I was 4. Wow, okay. That was mean, you guys. Okay. Robert Stubblefield has published fiction and personal essays in Dreamers and Desperados, Contemporary Short Fiction of the American West, Best Stories of the American West, Hayden's Ferry Review, Left Bank, the Clackamas Literary Review, Cascadia Times, Oregon Humanities, Oregon Salmon, Essay on the State of Fish and the Turn of the Millennium, Open Spaces, Basalt, Southern Humanities Review, White Fish Review, and the High Desert Journal, among many others. Awards include a George and Ann Borchardt Scholarship from the Sewanee Writers Conference, a Fishtrap Fellowship, an Imnaha Writers Retreat Fellowship. Robert grew up in Eastern Oregon and now lives in Missoula, Montana, and teaches at the University of Montana. And he just found out this week that he was named the best University of Montana professor by the Missoulian. So that's a thing. So please welcome the best university professor and our friend, Robert Stubblefield.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Shannon. Is this okay? Can you all hear? All right. Well, I'd like to thank Shannon, Mike, Hunter, and everyone at Fishtrap for bringing us here and always treating us so well. And thanks to all the participants here, my fellow faculty members, the Fishtrap Fellows, for a week of wonderful readings, great camaraderie, and just an excellent time. And I'd like to give a special thanks to my workshop group for such a great week with them. And earlier in the week, I gave them an exercise and asked them to incorporate 10 of their favorite words into the exercise. And tonight I can tell you that 10 of my new favorite words are Alexis, Brittany, Chase, Johnny, Lisa, Kevin, Memphis, Norm, Sam, and Troy. So, as Shannon mentioned, I've been to Fishtrap as a participant, as a fellow, and now as faculty. And the first time I came to Fishtrap, I was a student of Craig Leslie's, and Craig said, hey, there's this great gathering out in Wallowa County called Fishtrap, and you should think about going there this summer. You know, you're over in Eastern Oregon anyway. And I said, well, I don't know. It's kind of expensive. I don't know if I can do that. Work, and I just bought some new Timberland boots that I was really proud of. And Craig said, you could go to Fishtrap for what you paid for those boots. So I did. And I'm just really pleased and proud to be reading with Rich tonight. And it's hard to believe that a couple of young guys like us could go way back, but we do. So thanks, Rich, for letting me share the podium with you, and especially for your vision for Fishtrap and putting that together and all those years. And that's what brought us all here to where we are tonight. And so the piece I'm going to read is More Than 5 Minutes, or My Community College Education in 3 Lessons, which the Whitefish Review was generous enough to give a home. And actually, Craig is going to make a little appearance in that later on. But thanks to all of you for turning out tonight. I've got a lot of friends, old and new, here tonight, and I appreciate it. If the volleyball nets aren't up by 9 and the tennis court squeegeed before noon, the shit lands on me, and shit runs downhill, Phil said. He stood 6'6", and from a seat in his office chair, we weren't quite eye level, but close enough. If you were an athlete and on work study, this was reportedly the best job on campus. My friend Doug had held it during his time at Clackamas and recommended me. Phil hired me on the spot. Phil's office wasn't much, a ratty couch facing an institutional metal desk in a little basement corner just off the equipment checkout desk. I spent as many hours in that basement over the next 2 years as in the library or classroom. One coworker at the equipment desk spent most of her time trying to coax us into removing our shoes so she could practice reflexology. Another's purse dropped to the ground and popped open, allowing a Ruger 357 to spin across the concrete floor and momentarily remove all oxygen from the room. Virginia had fled an abusive marriage in New Mexico. "If that son of a bitch comes looking for me, I want to be ready," she said by way of explanation. Phil told her to put it away for Christ's sakes, and not to bring it to work again. I don't know if she continued carrying or not, only that we never looked at Virginia or her purse quite the same again. I reported for work at 7 a.m. No one else wanted the early shift, and when I was on time for 2 weeks running, I earned a promotion. I pulled shifts between classes, practiced basketball for 2 hours every afternoon, and fielded questions from teammates as to why I was always in the library, and from professors why I was always in the gym. But I embraced both places on those rainy Oregon mornings and afternoons, daydreaming while gazing out the library windows over the sodden athletic fields, or removing warm towels from the dryer in the steamy, bleachy fog of the laundry room. I was entrusted with the keys to the office and equipment room and enjoyed opening the door and checking in early mornings, appreciated walking out into a clearing sky with Mount Hood looming close and white while I squeegeed the tennis courts or lined the soccer pitch in the intermittent sun between showers. For the first time in my life, I applied the same discipline to my studies as my work or sports. I didn't skip classes, did my homework, and discovered that I enjoyed the coursework, particularly the reading and writing. The laundry room contained commercial-sized industrial washers and dryers, including the extractor. The extractor, a fearsome machine, spun with sufficient speed and force to pin towels to the side of the basket so they had to be peeled away. Imprints of the drain holes remained as I tossed the towels into the dryer. The extractor contained a level indicating bubble at the top of the center column. We were trained to check the bubble before each operation and to never, ever unlock the latch or open the top until the extractor spun to a complete halt. If you run that thing off plumb, it'll vibrate across the room and walk right through that concrete wall before you can do a damn thing, the safety inspector said. He paused to allow his words to sink in. He also warned us to never climb inside the dryers, tempting as it might be. A group of characters checked in on breaks and hung around the office, including Dale, a custodial engineer, and undoubtedly the foulest-mouthed individual I've met to this day. He opened conversation with a few shits, sons of bitches, assholes, and motherfuckers, then got down to cussing. The few words sprinkled between expletives were affable and generous, but it required effort to filter them out. Dale piloted the van on road trips for the women's and men's basketball teams, and later that season, at a home game, performed one of the most genius and quick-thinking acts I have witnessed. Chemeketa was our closest rival, and members from both baseball teams led cheers and taunts from along the sidelines. The crowd was unusually large and boisterous. Late in the closely contested game, Jeff, our small forward, stood waiting to inbound the ball along the sideline. Before the referee handed him the ball, a Chemeketa baseball player stood and yelled in Jeff's face, then poked him in the chest. Jeff's father stood from his courtside seat and pushed the heckler. As the referee attempted to step in between them, the baseball player lunged over the ref's shoulder and punched Jeff's father in the face. Jeff threw a flurry of punches, and he and the baseball player wrestled each other to the floor, along with Jeff's father and the referee. The brawl flashed into the stands as both teams' benches emptied. Tides of retreating fans clashed with players, coaches, trainers, and security personnel rushing to join in or intervene. 40-odd punchers, clutchers, and wrestlers immediately overwhelmed campus security. The entire gymnasium snapped to black, and the shrieking, thumping, and grunting ceased in the complete darkness. 2 minutes later, the lights came back on, and combatants stood baffled, embarrassed, and calmed as police arrived on the scene. Dale had rushed from his customary seat at the end of our bench to the Randall Hall control panel and killed the main switch. The following Monday, the Oregonian and KPTV came to campus to interview coaches and selected players. Tim, our starting shooting guard, when asked if there was a racial element to the brawl, replied, "Nah, I don't believe so. I think it was mostly just a bunch of white guys fighting a bunch of black guys." Coach Roy scrambled to the mic to end the interview. Lesson 1. It's always difficult to determine where idiot ends and savant begins. When Dale complained of feeling poorly over a number of weeks, Phil insisted he visit a doctor. Complaining, at least about himself, wasn't his nature. They'd just tell me I had cancer or something else I don't want to hear. Finally, Phil accompanied him to the doctor. Dale never returned to work and died a month later. He'd lived in a single-wide trailer, spent little money beyond the necessities of Copenhagen, Pall Malls, and Lucky Lager. He'd accumulated significant savings and invested heavily in life insurance. When his semi-estranged daughter arrived at his funeral in a new BMW, co-workers and athletic department staff quickly passed judgment. She never even visited the hospital, as far as I know, Phil said, and we nodded. Who are we to think that, let alone say that? Something had worn a significant hole in Dale's life long ago that he attempted to fill with his job and an outsized devotion to junior college athletics. Whatever he left for his daughter, he believed she deserved it. 1988 Portland was not Portlandia. That November, Mulgida Sarah, an Ethiopian student, died at the hands of a baseball bat-wielding neo-Nazi skinhead at the corner of Southeast 31st and Pine. The 3 skinheads who attacked Sarah were part of a group known as East Side White Pride. Several members enrolled on our campus to study German. Distinguished by shaved heads, Doc Martens, sneers, and swastika tattoos, they swaggered across campus, interacting little with other students, and without incident, until late one afternoon, a group, again of 3, accosted and beat a slightly built high jumper from the track team. The next day, we discussed the attack in Madame Ladd's French class. A brilliant, beautiful, and elegant woman in her mid-70s, Madame Ladd taught both French and German. She'd lived in Belgium during World War II and had been active in the resistance. Following the war, she married a GI and moved to Portland. Madame Ladd hosted dinner parties for the French Club, and her husband grew orchids in a glassed-in atrium housing their lap pool. My progress in French was slow and anything but steady. Madame Ladd appreciated and encouraged my efforts, but by nature and necessity was unfailingly honest in her assessment. My reading comprehension graded adequate, but oral comprehension and verbal expression lacking and likely to remain so. Although I was unique in being her only student to date to speak French in a Texas accent. One dark and rainy winter afternoon, we crossed paths on the Commons, and she complimented the pronunciation of my greeting by telling me that I was beginning to speak French like a native. Slight pause as I basked in her praise. Then, of Houston. She strode off in a peal of laughter as bright as her yellow rain boots and red umbrella. But on this spring morning, the discussion was taught. A number of students, me among them, believed the skinheads should be banned from campus. Madame Ladd agreed the perpetrators should be expelled, but maintained you could not ban individuals based upon their appearance or beliefs, only their actions. When you exclude people, you close off dialogue and therefore any chance to effect change, she said. How do you intend to change someone that is just evil, I said. Madame Ladd stood erect at the lectern. Young man, don't attempt to instruct me on evil. I have stared evil in the eye. Lesson 2. Everyone in the world knows something you don't, especially people older than you. Occasionally keep your mouth shut and listen to them. Craig, my first creative writing teacher, tended to lose stories and exercises he didn't feel merited attention. Most, if not all of those stories deserve to be lost. He assigned stories intended to instruct us in forms and elements of craft by example, like practicing free throws. Once taught the correct form and fundamentals, you didn't need someone to comment on every shot. The first piece of mine receiving any feedback involved a teenage boy attempting to seduce the attractive single mother living next door by repairing a sticky window frame. The film rights are still available on that one, if anybody's a producer out here. A few weeks later, during a preseason scrimmage, I received a swing pass at the top of the key. Trevor, our best outside shooter, spotted up for a three in the right corner. I sold my defender on the fake pass toward Trevor, crossed over, took 2 hard dribbles down the key, jumped, and extended toward the rim. But instead of finishing, I was met by a 6'8" center who swatted the finger roll and knocked me to the hardwood. No foul called and none warranted. The pace of the game slowed down for me all through high school, sped to frenetic in college. But on the page, I could back up and hit that shooter with a pass. I could pull up for the uncontested 17-foot jumper. A blank page offered a world of decisions and options to try and try again. I began looking forward to classes and work and dreading basketball practice. The skills that had made me a small school league MVP didn't translate. But what I'd learned growing up on the ranch and mowing lawns during summers, show up on time and finish your task, did. Early in the season, Craig came to one of our games. The next day after class, he asked me how many minutes I'd played. Around 5. How many hours a day do they practice you? A little over 2. You know, he said, as he handed back my first story, if you'd spend those 2 hours writing every day, you might end up with more than 5 minutes. It wasn't much, only everything. I walked back across the campus in the cold drizzle, considering how I'd miss going home for Thanksgiving and would be lucky to make it over Christmas. I entered the warm and brightly lit gym, passed through those wide hallways down the stairs to the equipment checkout counter, and found Phil at his desk in the corner and asked him if I could still keep my job if I wasn't on the basketball team. And thus began my education in earnest. I love basketball to this day, but would never again pursue it with that single-mindedness. My skills and ability deteriorated from that day forward, but I enjoyed playing more. 3. The long, great, recently late Tom Petty sang, "The waiting is the hardest part." I maintain the starting is the hardest part. The middle, perhaps the most interesting and rewarding. And the end, well, the end is ultimately more revealed than accomplished and takes care of itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thanks for joining us again this year. So before I bring up Jennifer Hobbs, our fabulous development person, to introduce our film, I wanted to talk a little bit about our Fishtrapper program. A lot of you have joined and become fish trappers. This is something we started in in the winter of 2019, in the end of the year, to encourage a sustaining donor program for Fishtrap. But what has ended up being a benefit of it is it provides an opportunity for all of you to be a part of Fishtrap throughout the whole year, and you get a little discount. So you get discounts to summer Fishtrap and to our writing workshops. You get special notifications of things. We send you a copy of our zine. When we started in November of 2019, we had 6 sustaining donors. And as of today, we have 140. So 140, yeah. So 130. So we're hoping that we'll pick up some more of those tonight. So in your little packets with the free pins that you see saying there's some information about the Fishtrapper program. If that's something you'd like to consider, it's just $5 a month. You can do more. We like it when you do. But it doesn't matter how much money you donate. You are one of us. You are one of us if you don't. So please know that. But consider being a Fishtrapper tonight. So we've had a little project we've been working on for a bit, and we're pretty excited about it. So I want to introduce Jennifer Hobbs to tell you about what we've been doing. So come on up.
So as part of the celebration of 35 years, oh my gosh, we decided to put together a film that traced the arc, the story of Fishtrap. And we tapped voices near and far to help out kind of tell that story. And something kind of amazing happened. We realized that Fishtrap is timeless. There wasn't so much an arc as a returning. So Renewal is especially appropriate as a theme when we look at the movie. But it's powerful, it's alive, it's sustaining, and making the movie was a real gift. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about the person who put together the movie, but before I do that, I was asked to make a very quick announcement. Nyla McCarthy, if she is here, we found your phone and it's at the front desk. So the person who worked the magic to string the narrative together, I got to work a little bit with her. Originally from Roaring Fork Valley of Western Colorado, Haley Thompson studied film and writing at Emerson College. She then worked in film advertising, editing movie trailers until 2016 when she moved back to Colorado to make a documentary about young farmers in her hometown. And that is where she met Cam Scott, who was working for Fishtrap at the time as well as river guiding, doing fishing trips on the river. Thanks to his dedication to teaching all the kids in this county, Haley decided to join him in Wallowa County and has loved living here ever since. So Haley, thank you. So if we could just give a hand to Haley. So a taste of Fishtrap over the years.
Kim Stafford, our most recent poet laureate, was my life for 20. Well, Fishtrap was my life for 20 plus years. Kim Stafford, our most recent poet laureate, and Peter Sears had a Northwest Writers Gathering. And I piped up and said, well, you call this a Northwest Writers Gathering, but it's really an I-5 Writers Gathering. And so Kim said, you're right, let's move it to the Wallowa.
Rich Weinsteiner started it in 1988. We've gone through 35 years, and we've had incredible authors, speakers, thinkers.
Ursula Le Guin actually helped make Fishtrap by coming that first year.
I remember Ursula Le Guin was just in the audience, but I was sitting behind her, and she was interacting with some little child, and she was making a little grass mustache. And so it was just this, moment of her being herself.
What Alvin and Sun Valley really contributed was the idea that a writers' conference didn't have to just be writers. Mark Jaffe, who came to the first one as a publisher. And I remember what he said is that Fishtrap isn't a place you go to get published. Fishtrap is a revival meeting for writers. You come to get replenished and revived.
The dream of all of us, well, for me, was I was a ranch wife who journaled. I didn't have the opportunity to go to college. So when I helped form the first Fishtrap, that was my college. I'm still learning from the College of Fishtrap. It became like a family reunion. I mean, the ones that went to the first one came back for the second and the third, and then we started growing. The thing that kept us going and still does is quality instructors, beautiful setting. Our vision was writing in the West, and it was only 3 days. It was a gathering. Creative people have to be with creative people. They feed off of each other, and this was a place you could do that.
As someone who was there when it began, and before it began, when it was just an idea, Fishtrap is like a story that will keep telling itself long after those who made it are gone. As a writer, a reader, an Earth citizen, Fishtrap has given me a sustaining community of people who care about truth, connection, land, and honor.
Fishtrap gives not just the Wallowa County community, but our larger community a place for people to come together and to listen to each other's stories.
I think Fishtrap was founded on the idea of relationships, of building relationships with others and creating spaces for people to thrive in.
This is just a reminder, just in case you forgot, which I didn't think you did, but it's worth repeating, a loving and supportive place, and it takes a lot of work to find your own honest, authentic voice, so that's what we're honoring here. That's what we're honoring. Yeah, you can snap!
In the Fishtrap community, I've really felt a lot of love.
I've gone to the youth workshop for many years, so I'd have to say that Fishtrap is where I met some of my closest friends.
I think when you are using words intentionally with regards to writing or and spoken word, it requires you to think more about what you are trying to say and reevaluate what you believe in, what messages you want to put out in the world.
Fishtrap is about clear thinking and good writing in and about the West.
We do that by creating space for those conversations with our events. Things like Winter Fishtrap and the Big Read that actually are about creating those opportunities for people to come together and have those conversations. But also our youth workshops and our youth programming, which is, yes, getting kids to write, but also about getting them to listen to each other's stories and create a sense of empathy and understanding.
My home is nestled in the wild landscape of Wallowa County. I've seen a lot of changes here in the ancestral homeland of the Nimipu or Nez Perce people.
Outreach to Nez Perce Voices and other inland Northwest Indigenous communities to make sure that we're recognizing that we are the visitors in their space and that they have stories we need to hear, but they're their stories to tell us, and it's our job to welcome them home.
Fishtrap allows you to interact one-on-one and become best friends with your heroes.
First word that comes to mind is community and a sense of place.
The space that we've created for people to be vulnerable in an empowering way through literature and creativity.
The mission statement is held up. We ask big questions. We invite people to tell their stories.
The word that epitomizes Fishtrap for me is service to community. I really think that Fishtrap has the ability to impact the local community and a larger community of writers with their unique programming.
I think it's our job to create a brave space for writers, and anybody who wants to come to Fishtrap has a space here. Anybody who wants to contribute and wants to create has a space here.
Come closer. Come into this. Come closer. You are quite the beauty. If no one has ever told you that before, know that right now. You are quite the beauty. There is joy in how your mouths dance with your teeth. Your smiles are simply signs of how sacred your life actually is, so step into it. Come closer.
I didn't consider myself a writer, but my passion was writing. And from the first fish trap, I went, oh, my people. The Snake River float trip, here I was with writers, with Craig Childs. And the rapids, you know, to be alive at 88 and go into the rapids and come out, and I just got hooked.
One thing I love is the total beautiful supportiveness. Everyone loves everyone else at Fishtrap. You want to hear the work at every single reading.
The people are what keep people coming back. That place is haven.
That sense of community and easygoing comfort and of writing together in a small group is how I teach now.
It is so vital to have literary nonprofits around.
We gave away 700 copies of Grapes of Wrath in Molalla County.
Our county only has 7,000 people, and for Fishtrap to be a part of that and have the culture that Fishtrap brings.
People would come up to me in Safeway and say, God, I read that when I was in high school. I just reread it. The greatest thing I've ever done.
Knowing that we are promoting that love of literature.
It's our job to think about how we can work together to make sure that this organization continues into the future, because I think the work we do has never been more important than it is now.
Fishtrap is a place where people can come together from all walks of life. Guards are let down, people are authentic in who they are and in their interactions.
I think people want to be in a community of fellow writers and readers who care about truth and language, about making stories that are kind, wise, and sustaining. That's what we need, and Fishtrap is where we find it.
All right, how about that for a film? Thank you to Haley and to Jennifer for putting that together, and to each of you who participated, and to all of you who've been part of Fishtrap for the last 35 years. I know the first time I saw that, I got touched me a little bit here, so thank you so much for that. The best way to segue that is to introduce the co-founder of Fishtrap. We talked about the tie in your program. It talks about a bookstore owner. Rich and Judy were the original owners of the Book Loft, who are here tonight, and that relationship continues. Rich is a wonderful human being, a mentor, co-founder, and I'm so happy to have him here tonight. So please welcome Rich Schwanschneider to the stage.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. How many of you have seen the show the Steve Arment show at the Josephi Center. You recognize anything here? Everything is tied together. As they were moving it around, I said, oh yeah, Steve traded that to us for a workshop for his stepdaughter. That's how things happen, right? So I want to thank all of my friends and relatives who have supported me on my quixotic journeys over the last years. My family, son Matt, granddaughter Oriana, grandson Aiden are here. My ex-wife and still good friend Judy is here, who keeps a connection going. She's here with some great deal of effort. And I might even have a sister or a poet niece streaming this thing. I don't know. I sent out some word today. We got here 51 years ago. I was kind of a smart guy, college-educated, Peace Corps guy. I didn't know what a Marine was. I didn't know the Nez Perce from the Navajo. I didn't know Wallawa from Walla Walla, from Wallula, from Malala. And I had a one-year contract with the Extension Service. And worked there for 5 years, and then that became the bookstore, and then that became Fishtrap. If you want more stories about the past, talk to Elizabeth, to Janie, to Janice now, all of these people who have accumulated all these stories. Just one note, or one final note about the past. Well, I'll refer to the past a couple times here. And those of you who know me, I don't know if I can stick to a written text, but I'll kind of try. In July of 1988, 150 writers, readers, and librarians gathered at the old Methodist campground to listen to Alvin Josephi, Bill Kittredge, George Finn, Craig Leslie, Jim Welsh, Kim Stafford, and see already. I'm going to do this, the Nez Perce people last night. Let's do that. I like that. And Ursula Le Guin. There were no workshops, and the torturous first night had 6 half-hour readings. I'd never been to a writing workshop, let alone organized one, and nobody told me anything different. So we staggered out of there, and and on Sunday everybody said, and I think we charged, does anybody remember, $35? I think was that right, Janie? Something like that. And we staggered out, and then we said, well, we better do that again. But rather than talk about history, what I've been thinking about is how much things have changed in 35 years, related to Fishtrap, but relating more to writing and to society and to our social interactions. The first thing that occurred to me after that opening was look at that first list of Fishtrap faculty. It was all men plus Ursula, although we snuck Jim Welsh's wife in as a panel moderator. But look at your Fishtrap faculty today. Look at your bestseller list. Look at Poets and Writers magazine, or look at our poet laureates. In the first 50 years of the Library of Congress writers, now called poet laureates, there were 5 women. 5 in the first 50 years. I meant 45. Well, some people doubled up, but probably 40 men and 5 women. We just got a new poet laureate, a friend of Frank Walker's, so you can talk to Frank X. Walker about her, Ada Limon, who will succeed Joy Harjo, who's not only a woman but a Native woman and has served 3 terms, who succeeded Tracy Smith, who is, I believe, I think, a black woman. Am I right? Yeah. That wouldn't have happened 35 years ago, folks. It wouldn't have happened. The second thing that occurs to me, because I have to think about Ursula, is genre. Remember our discussions with Ursula. And remember Ursula saying that literature is literature, right? Whether it's science fiction or fantasy or crime or whatever it is, literature is literature. Her crusade to blur the lines that grew around genre have seen success. Think Octavia Butler's Kindred, which is on literary and classroom curriculum lists. Think of Ojibwe, any of you know Ojibwe writer Marcy Rendon? If not, look her up, Murder on the Red River, okay? She writes mysteries set in Minnesota, in her Minnesota, North Dakota homeland, that explore the outrageous government foster care policies of the 50s and 60s and explore sex trafficking. I'll give you a hint, you'll forget this tomorrow, but by the time you get the book, her protagonist, a 19-year-old who's gone through 1 million foster care homes and helps out the local sheriff to solve mysteries, gets involved with a sex trafficking deal, and the Indian woman saves the white high school cheerleader. I think it's a pretty cool deal. And think about Ursula herself, who at one of her last great public appearances used an award ceremony to just lambaste the publishing industry. Okay. The publishing industry. Think about 35 years. In 1988, we invited Mark Jaffe from Houghton Mifflin and Naomi Bliven from The New Yorker. Houghton Mifflin has acquired others, Webster's Dictionaries, Cliff Notes, and it's been bought and sold, owned for a while by an Irish conglomerate and owned, I think today, by Veritas Capital, whatever that is. Josephi's old publishing house, started by his uncle, Alfred A. Knopf, is now a part of a German publishing juggernaut called Bertelsmann, which also owns the old publishing companies we knew as Random House, Penguin, Doubleday, Bantam, and who knows how many others. On the other end of things, the New Yorker is still publishing, although I now get my subscription online. And on the other side of the giants named above, the internet and digital printing have spawned all manner of small specialty houses and publications. You no longer need a run of thousands to feed an offset press. And the impatient author can now go to Amazon or Ingram to self-publish the great American novel, or go to the local coffee shop to publish a full-color chapbook or a zine, like the ones you see here. Digital printing is the biggest boon to self-publishing since the days of Franklin and Whitman, when you had to own or work in a print shop to publish it. But the new technology is more than that. In my entire life of letter writing, the letter I labored over longest and hardest was the Fishtrap invitation to Ursula Le Guin. My tools were the telephone and the U.S. Postal Service. And I had to tell a little fib. This isn't in the written text. I had gone to Eastern Oregon College to hear her read and finagled my way to a faculty kind of deal afterwards and actually had met her and said hello. I owned the bookstore at the time. And so when I wrote this letter, and I spent days writing this letter, I told her about our meeting at Eastern and how I'd enjoyed the reading and how we talked about whatever we had talked about. I don't know what I said. But anyway, I said we were going to do this thing. I had to explain Fishtrap to her. I had to explain who I was. I had to hone this all and make it, I'm writing to Ursula Le Guin, mind you, you know? You don't just, you pore over this thing. I had to write it, the invitation, as briefly and brilliantly as I could. I got a note back from her and she said, Eastern Publishing, Western Writers. That sounds good, I'll be there. I think that was about it. But think about letters, and on the receiver's end, and how there was something more intimate about old letter invitations that traveled through the mail and envelopes, which had to be opened, read, and responded to. We can skip much of that now. We write an email that thanks the mutual acquaintance for passing on an address, refers to a web page or the friend CC'd in the email as we make our request. Right? Isn't that how we do business kind of nowadays? We have, but what have we lost? Something about deep thought and intimacy that goes into letter writing. I tend to skip around. I'm going to go back to gender and race. First, as I said previously, women can now write bestsellers as well as serious poetry and fiction and nonfiction and publish beyond Redbook. It seems that women now outnumber men as war correspondents, wearing burqas and visiting Muslim and Yazidi villages, talking with all parts of Afghan, Syrian, and Yemeni society and leadership. Gay men and women, too, are living and writing openly, and the trans people we did not acknowledge 35 years ago have a vigorous writing presence. Scanning the Fishtrap faculty list over the last 35 years, that first Fishtrap was an outlier in terms of gender. We've been pretty good about hiring women and have not blinked at gay and lesbian writers, and this cow in timber town has never raised a fuss. Sometimes rural and letting people be themselves go together. Not always. And I have to acknowledge the major fights over gender issue that went on in the 70s and 80s before we even invented Fishtrap. Now I'll skip again. I hate to deal with Black American writing in a paragraph, but I've got to address it. We have to address it. And I have to address it because it has touched my own life very closely. I have a son from Calcutta, a Ugandan daughter-in-law, a Filipino daughter-in-law, and a bunch of mixed-race grandkids. And they grew up in this lily-white place, which isn't quite as lily-white anymore, and it wasn't easy for them or for Judy or me. Wow, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. But here are here are some personal observations of literary events and my own growing racial awareness. My copy of Baldwin's Go Tell It on the Mountain has my college date of 1962 scribbled in the inside of it. I can't remember what I thought about James Baldwin in 1962. I can't. But I spent 4 years in Turkey in the 1960s, and I did not learn until much later that Baldwin had lived and written in Istanbul. Beginning in 1961, Baldwin lived in Istanbul on and off for nearly 10 years. Here's a quote: "This Turkish decade provided a reprieve from America's homophobia and racism during the height of the civil rights struggles. Baldwin, the gay black man, found Istanbul more comfortable than even Paris. He's said to have claimed that Turkey saved my life. Ironically, living there in the 60s, I was totally unaware, probably not equipped to deal with race or queerness seriously when I was 25 years old. Black writers, black poets, and historians have rumbled across the national stage in increasing numbers over the last 35 years, enough so that we are now getting backlash. But think of the books and pages that have been opened. No discussion of Lewis and Clark 35 years ago would have considered York more than a curiosity of the time, a slave remnant in an advancing nation. In 1977, the TV version of Roots brought slavery to national attention. In 2016, Ibram X. Kendi published The Definitive History of Racism, stamped from the beginning. If you haven't read it, do so. Sometime in the middle of all of that, Frank X. Walker gave voice to York, Captain Clark's slave. And he might just bring him to the big screen if a movie outfit working with him is successful. That wouldn't have happened 35 years ago. I do not want to shortchange the many brilliant ethnic American writers of today in these reflections. I know you have met many Asian American and Latinx writers in books, movies, and here at Fishtrap. But because of where we are, the homeland of the Wawama band of the Nez Perce Indians, the Nimipu, and because we were privileged to hear from some fine Nimipu writers last night, and because I have a strong prejudice that these difficult times call for radical answers, and Indians, Native Americans, are a hope for the entire country. I'll use the rest of my time with them. In his life and work, Alvin Josephi said many times that when the standard version of American history did not lie about Indians, a man of his time, he used the word Indian most often. It omitted them completely. At a Stanford University conference in the early 70s, he went through the state textbooks grade by grade and showed the lies and omissions. He gave his working life to the cause of righting that huge wrong, and he influenced me and Fishtrap in that regard. The short story of how far we've come. I could not have imagined Lakupsami in my wildest dreams in 1988. And in 1993, when Sherman Alexie told the Fishtrap crowd that the days of Mamadé and Silko, which allowed only one Indian writer de jour, were behind us. In 1993, when he was here, he said, we can now have 3 or 4 Indian de jour, writers de jour. Think of all the Indian writers now. In 1997, and I wore this shirt because of this, Beth Piatote reminded me that 1997, Fishtrap, we did something called Circling Back. We had an all-native cast. Mark Trahant, Gloria Burr, Janet Campbell Hale, and others. Many here will remember Horace Axtell's workshop on the Nez Perce language, and Angel McFarland, Sabota, and Carla High Eagle talking about Nez Perce culture. A few of us that year met a young adjunct journalism professor from Eugene named Beth Piatote. She came as a protege of Mark Trahant's, won our hearts, and thank God keeps coming back. Today, in 2022, Native Revival is more than books, and definitely more than a handful of writers and activists. Native Revival is Deb Holland running the Department of the Interior, turning over deeply buried old stones in our bleak national boarding school history, appointing Chuck Sams and Roland Umatilla as head of the National Park Service. By the way, I mentioned, I told Beth Piatote I thought Deb Holland was a saint, and she said, saint and superwoman. It's Nez Perce Jamie Pinkham, now an assistant secretary in the Defense Department, sitting over the Army Corps of Engineers' domestic activities, its dam building and maintenance. It's Shelley Lowe of the Navajo Nation as chair of the National Endowment for the Humanities. It's the Yurok of Northern California reclaiming river and land for native plants and the giant condor. It's the Nez Perce homeland in Wallowa, tribal fisheries in Joseph. It's Nimipu owning land and an easement on the land at this Wallowa Lake Lodge. It is Upsami, the North Scar Collective at Fishtrap. We've gone through some rough times in this country, and we can't expect tribal people to bail us out of everything. But I am reminded of another thing that Alvin said over and over in his last years. That guy died in 2005, and he keeps getting smarter all the time. Indians, he said, are the only ones in this country still capable of groupthink, of putting community ahead of individual needs and wants. So maybe it's up to the rest of us, non-tribal peoples, to start a new kind of epidemic, a healthy one, spreading tribal knowledge of trees, fish, and community across the land. Thank you. I'll get them later.
We got a little surprise for you. So, I've asked Rich to stand up here for a second. We have a couple little gifts for him because this is 35 years of Summer Fishtrap. You got to get a birthday present. We also have a gift Wow, I'm so glad you're here, Judy, for our lovely Judy Weinschneider, who's also a Fishtrap board member, and you wouldn't be a birthday, it also wouldn't be a Fishtrap, I think it's safe to say, without Judy. So she is absolutely a part of the founding of this organization. So Jennifer has a little gift for you that she'd like to explain. So I'm going to give her, there's an explanation. We had it made, so.
Okay, so when you talk about flow and when you talk about what defines Fishtrap, go ahead and you can undo the bow.
By the way, I just remembered, we didn't call this a podium. We called it the Fishtrap pulpit.
I don't have a sermon for you, don't worry. So we were trying to decide what would be a worthy tribute. And there isn't any real way to thank Rich properly except that we keep showing up and keep going forward and keep doing this amazing experience. However, we wanted to come up with something. Go ahead and pull off the lid here. So, in addition to this year's t-shirt, which is padding.
Oh my Lord.
Okay, we have a very gifted glass artist in Wallowa County, and Sterling Webb has created this custom piece for Rich. And it is in all of Fishtrap's colors, and I asked if he could do something that looked like kokanee so that they would be trapped in glass in the flow, and Sterling delivered. And so it comes with a light box underneath, and on that light box, it says, with profound gratitude to Rich Weinschneider for promoting clear thinking and good writing in and about the West since 1988. And it'll nest in nicely here.
Thank you very much.
We're not done with you yet. We're not done yet. I'm gonna make him stick around just for one more second. We also, a lot of you know, this past year, we sold the Coffin House, which was, the purchase of the Coffin House was a major endeavor of Rich and the crew in 2001, and it meant, I think, somebody said it earlier today, it meant that Fishtrap was for real. It was legitimate. It had a home. It was a literary arts center. This past year, we made a decision to sell the house for lots of reasons, including the fact that we'd outgrown it and that it was needing a ton of work. The decision was very difficult, and I knew that it kind of made you sad, and I felt bad about that. But what we didn't tell you is we took $35,000 from the sale of the Coffin House, and we worked with our friend Julie Gregory, and we created the Weinschneider Endowment for Fishtrap. That will be there in perpetuity. So,
Thank you very much.
I've been planning this for a while, so.
Those of you who know me know I don't go speechless very often. And what do I think about then? I just went down to California, and our class of 1960 didn't get to celebrate a 60th reunion. So we had a combined 80th birthday party. And what I found out there was my classmates who had stayed in Oceanside, California said, if you stayed in Oceanside, you know that house that your parents had? You know how much this one friend said, if we live here and you look at our houses, we're all millionaires. But they didn't get any of this.
So in addition to the endowment, and now obviously it's in name of 35 years. Our friend Ann Werner wanted to let us know tonight too that she's made an additional gift of $10,000 to the endowment.
Wow.
We also were able to take the goal with the sale of the house is that we wanted to make sure that Fishtrap was secure for as long as it could possibly be. And we wanted to make sure that the funding that was sold, that came from the house was used for future Fishtrap's future. So we also invested the rest of the money into the existing endowment we have. And we also set up a reserve fund for the first time in Fishtrap's history. So Fishtrap is okay. And I think it's important to say that the work that you did and the effort you made into purchasing that house that we had to let go of this year ensured that Fishtrap will be here for another, hopefully 35 years and beyond. So I'd like to, again, thank you so much. And it's named, by the way, I want to say, it's named the Juan Schneider Endowment Fund and not the Rich Juan Schneider Endowment Fund because we wanted to make sure that Judy was also recognized with her work with this and the Juan Schneider family. And it wouldn't be Fishtrap without you, so I'm so glad to see you. So I'd like to bring up Jeff Fields, our Fishtrap board chair, and he'd like to talk to you a little bit about maybe how you can help this continue. So thanks.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, good, okay.
Wow, well, we can't top that. That is amazing. Thank you, Rich, and everybody who's here tonight. Thank you, Robert, for your reading. I don't know where Robert snuck off to. Thank you, Shannon, for having me up on stage. So I am very honored to be on this stage tonight. I have been able to get out several evenings, many evenings this week, and standing at the podium, this place where so many fantastic people have shared of themselves with all of us is a true honor, and I'm so honored to have a small role in this 35th anniversary celebration tonight. I'm also honored to represent the entire Fishtrap board. We have Ashley Tackett, Elizabeth Oliver, Jennifer Piper, Kate Forster, Teresa Jelanova, Veronica Warnock, and Judy Wanschneider, excuse me, as our board. And the Fishtrap board, collectively, we support the folks who that do the heavy lifting to put all this together and to make this week possible. And that's the wonderful Fishtrap staff. We've got Shannon, Mike, Hunter, Jennifer, and Janice. And so thank you so much, and a round of applause again for the Fishtrap staff. These people just doing. They do amazing work, and their skills, their heart, their persistence, their stamina created this space for all of us to explore, to learn, to share together, and to create the opportunities for that to happen. And as it's been said so well so many times, you know, Fishtrap is this place for us all to feel alive and be challenged, I think, this week in ways that can change us forever, both in how we understand ourselves, but also how we relate to other people. I know that for many people, and I count myself amongst this group, for many people, an important part of our lives is to put our skills, our heart, our effort into things we hope and expect will outlast us. And Fishtrap is one of these things for me. I would say my approach to this sort of thing is fairly stoic. It would sum up, someone said it, and I probably stole this from somebody else, but do as much as you can, as well as you can, for as long as you can. And if you're fortunate, and if you are blessed, that when your time comes to an end, when your time comes to set that down and step away from that thing, someone with skill and with heart and with passion and persistence and strength will step forward to pick that thing up and carry it forward. So tonight, on the chairs all around us here, on the chair next to you on your seat, you found a card that invites you to continue your support for Fishtrap and all the various opportunities that Jennifer and Shannon and others have spoke about. And all these opportunities that Fishtrap creates to feel deeply, to challenge yourself, to be challenged by others, and to change. And so I would just say before we take our break that if Fishtrap is one of these things, one of these parts of your life that is important to keep moving forward, I invite you to look at that card, to look at the little card about becoming a fish trapper, look at the little card about how you might continue to support Fishtrap moving forward. And take a look at that card. We're going to take a break here for about 15 minutes. I'd invite you to return those cards indoors to Hunter at the table. I'd invite you to feed the fish. I'd invite you to bid on the silent auction items. And I don't know if we have any opportunity to still drop a raffle ticket or two in, but do that. I would invite you to enjoy some sweets from Sugar Time and Eva's Bakery and Enterprise. And we're going to take a few minutes. We're going to take about 15 minutes to set the stage for Jezebel's mother. Relax, enjoy yourself, grab a drink, grab something sweet to eat, and we'll see you back here in about 15 minutes. Thank you so much.
checking 1 2. Check 1 2, checking 1 2. Checking 1 2 2. Checking 1 2. I'm not getting any monitor just yet, or not enough anyway. 1 2, checking 1 2. Check. One, two, two, two. Check it, 1. Check it, 1 2. Check it, 2 2. Check it, 2 2. Check it, 1 2. Check it, 2. That's okay. I'm gonna check yours, Mike. Your mic. 1 2. Check it.
I'll just tune because we're still live streaming.
Oh, we are right now? We're still live, so I'm just entertaining. Yes, I guess I didn't have to hurry over here. My calendar says 7:30. That's okay. Go with the flow. I was nice today. Wasn't I? It's a set list.
Yeah, we can just
10
start
bucket
playing.
woman. Yeah, let's do it. Let's just start playing.
Let me just get tuned. I might need a little. Let me hear that out. We need to rock this joint. Yes. We're just people.
We're representing an unknown. Yeah. Hi. choices. Choose a light, and then we're stuck in these tiny boxes. The new guy fondles his war toy, kicks back, and says, how did I get to this place? He was sly. He said Jesus was on his side. Thin lips smile. Either you're with us or you're against us. A mother picks up her dead child insane. She says, how did we get to this place? Do 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 do. Da 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 da. Do da 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 do da. Days go by, and luckily our fear distracts us. It slips away. What's a few more lies for freedom? Takes up the whole house. I wonder how did we get to this place? How did we get to this place? I wonder how did we get to this place? How did we get to this place? Hello, everybody. We're Jezebel's mother. And Janice Carper. My name's Carolyn Lockert. And we are really happy to be here tonight to be, I guess, the last act, I guess. I think that's what we're doing, right? We're the closer. And that's good. That's good. Thank you. It's good to have family around.
I'm going to turn the monitor.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that last song was off of my CD, and it's called She's Looking Back. And I wrote that when George Bush Jr. was our president. And I just couldn't believe how, it's like, what was going on? So it's how did we get to this place? And that's a really good question because here we are again. By golly. Right. There's the same question. How in the heck? But anyway, on a more positive note, this is a breakup song. Janice wrote this song just in the last month.
Who's counting?
A little fodder for songwriting. It's always good.
How's the sound? Is the balance getting better out there? All right, let us know. Oh, they want us up more. Okay, wait.
More volume? More volume? So Janice works for Fishtrap, and she also wrote a song called Two Bucket Woman, And it was just playing a little while ago, and I thought, you know, it's more like Six Bucket Woman. I mean, she takes her off guitar, and she goes and changes the sound, and she puts on her guitar again. Then she moves some furniture. You know, she's amazing. And she's my good pal.
Spring breakup, what a muddy mess. What a muddy mess. Freeze and thaw, freeze and thaw, freeze and thaw. Spring breakup, better watch your step. Better watch your step. Touch and go, touch and go, touch and go. Scattered shards of broken hearts abandoned in the dust. In every direction there's another you can't trust. Take shelter from the bitter wind, from the bitter wind. April snow, April snow, April fool. Take shelter, feel it caving in, feel it caving in. Cut and run, cut and run, cut and run. The tossing and the turning and the anger and the blame, the breaking and the broken, they are one and all the same. So sorry, nothing left to say, nothing left to say. Shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. So sorry, we couldn't find our way, we couldn't find our way to turn around, turn around, turn around. The curse of the unspoken and the folly of regret. We leave behind a trail of tears that we won't soon forget. Spring breakup, what a muddy mess, what a muddy mess.
Isn't that a great song?
Thank you. Are we ready for the drawing? Okay, I guess we're ready to do the raffle drawing. So,
Got your tickets?
got your tickets? Well, no, we're gonna just call the names, I think.
No, see, yeah, I've seen that. Yes. A little bright. So I think we'll have Elizabeth do the actual drawing, don't you think? And we'll do Summer Fishtrap last, so. Yeah. Are you ready for some raffle tickets? Well, I guess not the raffle tickets. You want to know who wins. I've got the raffle tickets. All right, okay.
There's still coffee in here.
There's. So we'll start out with the book bundle. This is a copy of signed books from each of the Summer Fishtrap faculty. And we're going to have our lovely board member, Elizabeth Oliver, do the honors here. So here, do you want to pull the lid off?
Yeah, you've got your hands full. Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Oh. Randy Movich won the raffle. I saw Randy somewhere around here. Randy Movich, you just won the books. Nice. So we need to keep track of these, which we didn't think about. So Randy Movich has the books. There's a clipboard.
I've got a Sharpie right.
We're super organized. We're done now. Can you tell? I don't know. Who are we going to let people know? Okay. Beth. Okay.
There you go. You can write it on the tag.
Jennifer's got it. Okay. Takes a village. All right. The next one is a food assortment from Pier 303, which is an awesome place. If this is Randy Movich, we're going to give it back. Yeah. Alan Koch. We will be in contact.
If you're here, if they're here, their bags are ready.
This is the all seasons package, which includes all sorts of stuff that hits the seasons, including a really big umbrella. So. Sally Jones. Nobody's here, but we will be in contact with you. Okay. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. People are really excited about this one. This is the Raise a Glass Together. So this has all the this is the get your drink on bucket. Okay. Uh-oh. Karen Ovenen gets her booze on. Karen Ovenen's going to have to drive this back to Colorado, but I think she drove, so we'll have to be in contact with her before she leaves in the morning. So. And here's Randy. That was the first one that we did, the book. That was the book bundle. Oh, there, yeah, okay. There it was Summer House, and she had two stuck together. All right, here's the grand prize, the Summer Fishtrap registration for next year. You ready? There's a lot of tickets in there, man. A lot. Holy cow. Mike Midlow. No, wait. Gabriel Bamer. You won free registration for Summer Fishtrap next year. Congratulations. Yeah. All right, let's get back to some music. There's still cookies up there. Thank you for everything. We will see you tomorrow, but in the meantime, rock out. The silent auction items, before you leave, they're all final now. So before you leave, go up tonight, and when you walk out, we'll let you know if you've won, and you can pay for them then. But if they haven't pulled them, you could check quick, but that's what it is. Thanks.
This is a Jezebel's Mother original. We wrote this together.
No, did we?
No, we didn't. I lied.
What are we doing? Oh, we're doing Saint Sebastian.
I just
no.
lied.
No, we sing it together.
Yeah, we sing it together. Yeah. Janice shared the verse. Let me sing a verse. Thank you.
Say goodbye. Say goodbye. All those miles on the highway that bring your smile to my driveway. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Walking away distraction. I squandered my compassion. Send a prayer to Saint Sebastian and say goodbye. There's no easy way around it. Let's just leave it as we found it. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. It's a story old as history. Don't pretend it's such a mystery. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Walking away is not a sin. And baby, here we go again. Tempted by distraction, I squandered my compassion. Send a prayer to Saint Sebastian. Say goodbye. Send out a prayer to Saint Sebastian. Say goodbye.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I wrote that, I think, when I had COVID, actually. And I just want to say, it was really wonderful to hear Rich Wanschneider speak tonight, and it's been an honor to work at Fishtrap for 17 and a half years. And I remember when Rich hired me as, well, you'll never guess what I got hired at. To my first job at Fishtrap was bookkeeper. I think that's hilarious because it's like, I remember Rick Bombassi, we were a team of 3 when I started there, and I think in the interview, Rick said, "So are you trying to say bookkeeping is not your passion?" So you can just read what you will into that. It's like, but anyway, I'm super happy to have such a wonderful organization to work for. Yay! And happy anniversary, Fishtrap.
We're gonna do songs so I can play my new kazoo.
Yeah. Oh man, she's got the big guns out now.
This actually doesn't do anything.
It's just for show. Is this my key?
Me, myself, and I are all in love with you. We all think you're wonderful, we do. Well, me, myself, and I have just one point of view. We're convinced there's no one else like you. Oh, it can't be tonight, dear. You brought the sun to us. We'd be satisfied, dear, if you belong to just one of us. So if you pass me by, 3 hearts will break in two. Oh, me, myself, and I are all in love with you. I'll take it. You belong to just one of us. So if you pass me by, three hearts will break into. 'Cause me, myself, and I are all in love with you. That's right. I said, okay. All me, myself, and I are all in love with you. We're convinced there's no one else quite like you. All me, myself, and I have just one point of view. We're convinced there's no one else like you. Oh, it can't be denied, dear. You brought the sun to us. We'd be satisfied, dear, if you belong to just one of us. So if you pass me by, three hearts will break into. Oh, me, myself, and I are all in love with you. That's right, I said me, myself, and I are all in love with you.
There's a twinkle in your eye. Yeah, you caught me looking. And a swagger in your step. Like you got something cooking. Well, I was doing just fine until you got my number. And now I'm holding the line, but now I'm going under. Trouble, about as far as I can see. Trouble, looks like trouble. Oh, you got into my head, and now you're heading for the heart. It was written in red from the very start. Trouble, about as far as I can see. Trouble,
It's about letters, right?
looks like trouble. Nothing but trouble. Oh, there's a moon coming up, and she's looking right at us, saying, don't fight love, don't hide in the shadows. Trouble, about as far as I can see. Trouble, looks like trouble. Trouble, for this HEART. Trouble, looks like trouble. A little heart trouble.
Thank you. You want to do Mister?
Let's do drinking because
Oh, yeah. Okay. Excellent.
This is a tune that Holly Williams wrote. That's Hank Williams' granddaughter. And if you don't know who she is, check her out. She's an amazing songwriter and singer also. Why you drinking like the night is young? Yeah, why you drinking like the night is young? Kids are in bed and the day's long gone. Why you drinking like the night is young? Why you screaming like I don't have ears? Yeah, why you screaming like I don't have ears? Baby, I can hear you loud and clear. Why you screaming like I don't have ears? Why you cheating on a woman like this? Yeah, why you cheating on a woman like this? I had your babies and I kissed your lips. Why you cheating on a woman like this? Why you living like we don't exist? Yeah, why you living like we don't exist? You're packing your bags and I clench my fist. Why you living like we don't exist? Why am I drinking like the night is young? Yeah, why am I drinking like the night is young? Mama took the keys and the money is long gone. Why am I drinking like the night is young? Why am I drinking like the night is young? Why am I drinking like the night is young?
We got to check that out. So. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's Holly Williams. Are you guys hearing distortion out there? It's a new thing I just got put in my guitar. It's because I want to be a rock and roll star. Can we put a mic on it instead? Oh, it's still doing it. Sorry. Sorry, we're going to try and get this figured out real quick. Sounds awful. mean, I just use this cord at the, at this other gig. So are you gonna just plug a mic into it? Okay. Okay. So can I undo this? She's a two-bucket woman. It just smells so bad. I think somebody caught a bunch of fish and let them rot over there. Now we're going to do fade away.
Yeah. All right. All right. We're back. Good old Shore 57.
I don't even play on this one. But I'm ready. So we're going to probably do like Hey Mister after that. Yeah.
Forest green, a cloudless sky. Hike the hills of home. To the east, your alibi wears a hat of snow. Such a day as this won't fade away. Coffee in the bedroom light, laughing at ourselves, working up an appetite
Thank you.
Janice wrote that one.
Thanks a lot.
We're going to do one that we did write together. I'm not lying this time. It's called Hey Mister. And it's all about the times where you want to tell somebody to get lost.
Hey there, mister. I said I don't need you to buy me a drink. I'm a big girl. I can walk and talk and I even think. What you're after, well, it ain't such a big mystery. Aren't we past this? All this condescending misogyny. Yeah, we know where we're going. Yeah, we know where we've been. I get the feeling that no one is gonna keep us down again. Ooh, hey there, sister. Why do you let him treat you that way? Won't you listen to your heart and what it's trying to say? You know better that you're gonna be just fine on your own. If you let it wash away the fear of being alone. Yeah, we know where we're going. Yeah, we know where we've been. I get the feeling that no one is gonna keep us down again. Is gonna keep us down again. Yeah, we know where we're going. Yeah, we know where we've been. I get the feeling that no one is gonna keep us down again. Is gonna keep us down again.
I tell you, we've taken a major step backward, but you know, we're trying not to be kept down.
Oh, I think it might be time for a drinking song.
I think it's a drinking song. Where's my beer?
Well, usually Carolyn's drinking whiskey. And I tried, I swear, I really tried all my life to drink whiskey. So here's a song about that. If I
drank whiskey on a night such as this, I'd run the table with a glass in my fist. Then I'd scratch on the 8-ball, watch all my cards fall. Oh, Lord, if I drank whiskey, if I played the steel guitar in an old rambling band, you'd find me at break time with a gun in my hand. But I didn't do it, and the bass player knew it. Oh, Lord, if I played the steel guitar. If I had a lover on a long winter night, he'd be gone by daybreak, and we'd never fight. But then comes the part where he's breaking my heart. Oh, Lord, if I had a lover, if I drank whiskey. Thank you.
Janice always has a bottle of whiskey for me at her house.
Yep.
Make sure it's there.
Well,
All right, so.
do you want to do old country, or do you want to do she's looking at
Let's do
or is it something that's not on the list, or- Sure.
Can I play my kazoo on this one?
Yeah. If I can remember how it goes. 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Oh, well, shoot.
You want to do this? Okay.
Oh.
You want to do this and then shout about it?
Oh, 5 minutes.
You want to do shout about it? Let's just do shout about it.
Okay, all right. We'll call it. I was going to get Shannon up to sing 5 days, but let's just do shout about
Oh,
it.
let's
no,
do that.
No.
Oh, no. Doesn't she want to?
Well, she doesn't know, but I was just going to. I mean, I didn't know what time it was. But
Well, let's
we
ask
have
her.
to do shout about it, though, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're just going to do this one and wrap it up because we have to be, we have a curfew. Forgot. We have a curfew. This isn't my living room. All right. So we're just going to do this rock and roll tune that I wrote with my son when he was in junior high. Well, I wrote the music.
Was he in junior high?
Well, he might not have been. He might have been in 5th grade. I don't know. And I wrote the lyrics later on. And it's a hit of the Strange Striders.
It's all about putting it out there when you don't agree with something. Hey!
about it. Come on, shout about it.
Hey.
Boardroom, bedroom, backroom, summit, Wall Street, Main Street, back street, thugs, stocked up as the numbers plummet. War on terror, war on drugs. Waving Jesus as your mascot while you wage your war on love. Shout about it. Come on, shout about it. No allegiance to our leader. He's the illustrated man. Fear and fallacy will need our ignorance, their master plan. Where's Mother Mary when you need her? Help us mend this broken land. Shout about it. Come on, shout about it. Yeah! Shout about it. Come on, shout about
Thank you so much. We're Jezebel's Mother. Thank you to Fishtrap for having us here. And thank you all for being here with us this week. It's been a wonderful week, and we'll see you in the morning, those of you who are left. So if there are any cookies left, I want one. And we have some CDs up here. Our tour manager and spiritual advisor, Patty, is in her little box, and she will give you a CD for whatever. You don't even have to put anything in the box. but
Whatever you can afford.
Whatever you want to put in there. She likes things. You know, it doesn't have to be money.
She likes pearls, actually. Real pearls.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for being in our audience.